third AGM of the Connacht Clan, the supporters club. In 2012-13 season, we were involved in a couple of different initiatives. One of them was helping redecorate the bar. Aaron did a lot of work on that in particular. Other things we did, we organised away events for the away day matches in around Galway. We continued the Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year awards, and we inducted Eric Elwood and Johnny O'Connor into the Hall of Fame. One of the biggest things that we did was we tried to expand our reach and our mind share. Mind share is a very marketing term, but our mind share of the Connacht Clan branding a bit further, so that people know who we are and what we do, and could interact with us a little bit easier. And how we did that was we set up a Facebook page, and we became active on Twitter and stuff like that. So for 2013-14, we want to continue with that. We want to one of the things we want to do is maybe get some physical signs around, so people know. People who haven't heard of the Connacht Clan will know that it's there. A lot of people wouldn't, outside of people who were involved with the ICRSC or were aware of the Facebook page. They wouldn't really have a way of finding out from a zero starting point about the Connacht Clan. So we want to get a sign up a couple of places around and make sure that people know that we're there and where they can go to find some more information. And so that's it. For the welcome, I'm going to hand over to Shane to present the financials for the last season.
Right. I suppose if everybody wants to follow along in the hymnal,
Hymn sheet.
the hymn sheet, yeah, it's very, very straightforward. A couple of the events that we did throughout the year, some of them generously provided sponsorship, and that brought in €600 for the clan for the year. The year is the rugby season year, September to June, close enough. At these events we ran various raffles. We took in about €240 between the various raffles. Two other major sponsors were O'Connell's and, was it Medtronic or Boston Scientific? I can never remember. Medtronic provided kind of unspecific sponsorship. They were able to pony up a few bob, and that came to €1,300. And then the clan had always tried to take in membership fees for people who weren't season ticket holders. Now we've made a decision that the overhead on that was probably too much, and it wasn't a worthwhile exercise for people wanting to join or for ourselves. So we've since closed that particular avenue down. But there was €690 that was there, that was paid into it. So this year the clan took in almost €3,000, €2,830. You'll see there that our outgoings to date haven't been exactly massive. Kieran here was able to supply some pens, which we were able to give away to visiting fans, and we were able to give away when some of us were away on away trips. We've provided some prizes for the various raffles, as well as the venues themselves for providing prizes. There was player trophies for the Hall of Fame and the player awards. We've purchased a PA for the clan bar. I'm not sure if anybody has been down at any of the Q&As we've done throughout the year, or the Hall of Fame, or the player awards, but we had hired in a PA, which was obviously costing us every time we had to do it. It was relatively small, so you pretty much had to be within 5 or 10 metres, to hear it, and even towards the back of that you'd be straining. Never mind if you were down the far end of the bar. So what we've decided to do is to try and essentially get the place plumbed for sound, so that if there is something going on in the what we call the changing room side, that you don't have to cram up to one side.
That the whole bar will know about it.
Exactly. So that's something that should be happening this year. That was approximately €600. As Dennis had mentioned, we have some signs, of which one is beside me. That's about €165. And then, as I had mentioned, there was the actual hire of the PA for the year. That was €150. So our outgoings are about €1,370. That leaves us with a balance of about €1,460, which we'll be able to bring forward into the 2013-2014 season. Not sure if anybody has anything they want to ask, or any Any comments they want to make on the financial side of things?
Connacht Rugby obviously run the bar.
They do.
They do, yeah. We don't
So
get.
why did they pay for PA? Since they have the best benefit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, 580 is only 100 and odd points, like.
It's
Would it
true.
pay for it, like?
Well, I mean, the whole reason why the Connacht Clan were set up in the first place is to help support Connacht Rugby and to generate interest in it. We have the money there, and we felt it was an area where we could make an investment, and it would feed back directly to us. The PA was what was costing us. We were paying for the PA systems for our own events.
Yes.
So we have this PA system that's available to us now. It doesn't necessarily always have to be in the clan bar. We can take it with us to other places, other bars, if we're running an event in a different location, or if we at some point get a different clubhouse or something like that, we can take it with us. So that's the main reason why we didn't chase.
So it's not fixed, like.
No.
Oh, it's mobile. Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was like a fixed PA system.
Well, we're going to have fixed mountings in
Yeah.
the thing for the speakers, but it should be easy enough to take down and take the speakers with us and take the amplifier with us, mixer desk.
And let's just have events on a much more informal kind of scale, whereas before we would have had to plan everything ahead and get the players. Now, if players drop in, we already have the PA set up, we can have an event kind of on the cuff.
We can do things like after a match, we can just grab a couple of supporters and get their opinions on matches and stuff like that, without having to chase up a guy, arrange a PA hiring and all that kind of stuff. So that was basically it.
It hasn't arrived yet. We should state.
It has.
Has it?
Yeah, it just arrived like a couple of days ago. It's in my house.
Didn't get the memo there.
Started in your house already.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite. The neighbours aren't that fond of it, to be honest. But yeah. So, if there's no, are there any other questions on financials, or will we move on?
Just if you're holding events in bars,
Mhm.
do they have to give you a few quid?
Yes.
That's what the event sponsorship there
But
is
it's
for.
not obviously specified in the accounts, like exactly what it costs or who gives what. Or,
Well, we can that
can be
information is
provided, yeah,
available
yeah,
if
yeah.
anyone's interested. Yeah, I think we did for different events we took different amounts of money. So
Depending on how big the game
depending
was,
on
or-
how big the game was. So like say for example it was a 6 p.m. Saturday Heineken Cup away game.
Mm.
That's going to have a bigger draw than it'll have a bigger incentive for a bar to pay money for that rather than say 8 o'clock on a Friday.
Or even
Rabble
2 o'clock on a 2 o'clock on a Saturday morning
Yeah,
for
I
a
understand,
cup
yeah,
game or
it's-
something like that.
Yeah, so that's basically it. But I think the average was about 150 per event.
I think it's a bit more than that, yeah. Nothing else on the financial side of things? Look, as I say, it's
We
been
have-
fairly minimal.
We have any other business at the end as well, lads. So if there's any questions that you don't feel fits exactly into one area or the other, you can wait until then. Ready to rock on?
Okay.
So the next point for discussion is the adoption of the formal constitution. We had it up on the site for a couple of weeks. We got some good feedback from members and on the site, and people were free to look at it and make comment on it for a couple of weeks. If there's any other objections or suggestions, we'll take them now. Otherwise, we'll vote for the adoption of the constitution by a show of hands.
I just had one thing I sent it on, just about changing the membership for, like automatic membership for season ticket holders. And I think Shane updated.
Yeah.
I think I know that.
You'd be Pinky then, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you again, Alex.
Can we get your real name?
Yeah, that's the
Kieran,
always
there you
right.
go.
Yeah.
I think that's 3-3. All season ticket holders will automatically be entitled to become full or junior members of the club, depending on their age, for the membership year to which their season ticket relates.
So they're entitled rather than they're automatically members.
Yeah, but I think I just sent out another one afterwards, but it was only last night. You might have seen it. Because I didn't mention it was free.
I saw it literally while I was sitting here. What was it? I
It was just that it doesn't state now that it's automatically free membership, or that that they're entitled to free membership.
They're not automatically entitled to free membership.
Alright, okay, fair enough.
So there's another
That's
section
just that
here
we're going
that
to-
says that the fees, if any, are dependent are decided on by the committee
Right.
for the year.
So,
So in the future we can decide to charge
Yeah.
extra
Okay.
if we want to. So it's not an entitlement to a free membership. It's an entitlement to membership.
And I suppose we should say at the moment we have no plans to charge for membership. As you can see, I think the we're self-financing at the moment, and more than self-financing. We don't want to turn anybody away by charging a 10 or a 15 euro membership. I suppose we exist for fans at Connacht Rugby, and we don't want to be looking for membership cards at the door to an event or what.
Our goal at the minute is really to grow the Connacht Clan and
grow the fan base rather than grow our
Exactly. Yeah, and as well as that, we have a surplus here that we need to figure out how best we can use that already. So that's kind of a challenge for the upcoming season, is to figure where are we going to make those investments that benefit the supporters the most. So anyways, are we happy to proceed with what we have?
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll just do a show of hands for adoption.
Unanimous?
Unanimous?
You can vote for it.
Okay, so it's been adopted unanimously at the AGM.
How do you know we're all members?
Season ticket holder?
How do you know we're all members?
Season ticket holder?
Yes.
Then you can vote.
Well, we're trusting you, Les. Do you want to? If you want, you
It
can.
just occurred to me, so you said you wouldn't vote. I said, sure, all of us would just wander in off the street.
I think this was something that Kieran, because there's a bit in the Constitution about winding up the Constitution. 75% of members, which I
The Munster supporters don't come to the cracks. Like.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not from them. So the next couple of items are actually were suggested by Kieran here as formal points to be raised on the agenda. So we're just going to go through those. So it's basically to do with the creation of new committee roles or associate committee roles, or specified roles within the Connacht Clan, basically. So the first one was webmaster. At the minute, I'm kind of acting as webmaster. I have done, I suppose, since the start. I set up the first website that was there, and then when Mike Monaghan came along, we redid it with the Joomla site, and I've kind of been involved with it since then. I don't know if it's something that we should have as an electable office, because it needs a skill, it needs someone who knows how to do it. And it might be hard to find someone every year who's both skilled for the job and willing to put their name forward.
There's a lot of history there, and you need to have been there for a while to know the people to contact and stuff.
It's
like
true
that.
as well. I mean, there's a lot to it, but I mean, it would be fine as a committee role, except for the fact that, as I said, it's a technical role, and we need to be able to make sure that there's someone there all the time. And if it's a committee role, they'd have to step down every year and get re-elected back in. So personally, I would be against it being a committee role, rather than just something that's part and parcel of something that a member does.
Yeah, I think I said that in the thing, that it didn't necessarily have to be a committee role, but that there should be. It was more really more to kind of have a team, kind of, or a group of people that would
Feel free.
maintain the website and be willing to do development work on the website or whatever.
Yeah.
That wouldn't necessarily have to be on the committee, because I suppose there's probably plenty of people out there who'd be able to volunteer a small bit of time, but
Sure.
as I said, nobody's going to take on full responsibility for it.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was-
one of the things we want to do is make sure that everyone knows that anytime they want to help out, no matter what they're good at or what they feel they can contribute, we want to make sure that that they feel free to put their name forward and say, yeah, I can do this or I can do that. The only reason I'm doing webmaster is just because I fell into that role right at the start and kept going. If anyone would like to help out with the running of the site, that's always encouraged.
Yeah, if anyone has any Joomla experience at all, we'd appreciate it. If they
Yeah.
Like I don't have any, but I'd be willing to pick it up. Like I do web development on other platforms and stuff. So
Brilliant.
I'd be willing to give a hand at it anyway.
Excellent. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll give you elevated privileges on that. We'll make you an administrator on the site, and what that'll allow you to do is if you see any other people who are willing to contribute articles or anything like that, you'll be in a position to allow them to.
Yeah, that kind of rolls into, I suppose the two kind of roll in together. The next one I had was the web content editor. It's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
relate to that as well, just to
Yeah.
have.
I think in relation to the web content, any member of the forum can write an article, and it's up to one of the administrators or one of the moderators to basically click and have it published.
Yeah.
You know, and something that definitely
It's actually a problem that I noticed with the way the privileges work on the site is that a registered member of the forum is only counted as a registered, only has registered privileges, which doesn't unfortunately entitle them to automatically submit an article, which is a bit of a pain, because submitting an article, even when you submit it, it needs approval from an editor or above. So I might look to see if there's a way that we can have it so that registered users can submit articles.
Better not to be moderated now, because you get some awful crap up until you.
Well, that's the thing. So we allow people to submit, but it doesn't get published
Yeah.
until one of us comes
Until
along
one of
and
us.
say, yeah, that's
Also always.
all right to go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, in the meantime, if anybody had anything that they wanted to put up, I mean, I know that there was
Borders put stuff up on
Yeah,
the forum before.
which was
Borders
really
actually had
brilliant.
PM me some stuff last year, and I didn't see it until a couple of weeks after, and it was kind of irrelevant at that stage. But I'll try and get it up again. People can send stuff on to
Yeah.
us by email or whatever, and we
your,
can get it up.
your name will be on it, and whatever. Because that's one of the things that we're conscious enough about ourselves, is that the front page doesn't update a huge amount on the website. The forum is always going, but the front page will update when somebody has an article.
Yeah.
There's plenty going on in the forum. I know Swifty for Prez has a load of stats. Borders has a load of stats. There's a couple of people that put up really great insightful stuff. But if it was on the front page, might drive a bit of traffic there. If we were to get it up on the Facebook and up on the Twitter, it'll all drive back. So it's certainly something that we're very open to. And
That's kind of what my motivation and suggestion was, really, that, you know, if we can get kind of regular updates on the front page of the site, then, you know, it would drive more people there.
Definitely, yeah,
We should
but
really aim during the season to have it updated every day or two.
The goal,
You know,
the goal will be to make the Connacht Clan website a hub of user-generated information about Connacht. Will be.
That would be kind of one of the first places to go. You know.
Yeah, rather than just bookmarking the link
Yeah,
to the forum,
because
it's the front page, which is what most people do, including
Yeah.
myself.
Sometimes
yeah,
on the front page you don't even notice it sometimes, because it's.
Yeah.
It has been quite stagnant at times. I mean, Dennis has done pretty much all the articles here. I've done a couple. I know C Point's done a couple as well.
But the more people we have contributing,
Yeah.
the easier it is for everyone.
And it links to the page after Twitter and all that, like Connacht website does.
Yeah.
So like basically,
Yeah,
the
that's
link
it's important
from
to.
Twitter goes straight to the
because
website.
a lot of people that would be a little bit more casual would click on the website and they'd see, oh Jesus, it's only been 2 articles in the last 2 months, and then they'd go away again. You know, if there's something that we can draw people in and keep people in the site, that's all well and good. So again, we're delighted if anybody wants to put something up, send us a message on the forum or email us. All of our email addresses are there, and we'd be delighted to get it up.
It would be ideal if we could have a situation where we had at least one article for every match or something like that, you know, to keep it fresh at least from week to week. So yeah, we're definitely willing to submissions in any form from them.
And the last point then is a way travel coordinator.
I'm
Now,
just trying to land Karen in it there.
yeah, I mean, as most of you know, Kieran here has been de facto filling that role for the last couple of seasons. So, you know, first off, huge thanks to him, and huge thanks to everyone else who's contributed to the away travel thread, because it's that kind of user-generated content. People are seeing different options from different people, and it gives them ideas, and they can go away and use that as a kicking off point for themselves. Now, I don't want to land anyone in it, but if there are any people in the audience here today who would like to step into that role, they can raise their hands. Okay, there doesn't seem to be that much interest in it being an official role.
Members of the committee,
I don't think it makes sense for one person to have it, because not everyone is going to go on every trip.
well,
Yeah,
I'm,
but
quite,
that's all as
I'm quite happy to continue doing what I'm doing, but
Yeah.
because I live in Drogheda,
Yeah.
like
Oh, it doesn't make
committee
sense.
meetings, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me,
No,
for
and
me
it-
to be
Well,
honest.
we wouldn't hold you to being at committee meetings for
Committee member
It's
anyway.
more
Yeah.
just.
You're essentially organising trips to away games. You don't actually need to come to
And
Galway.
it's going fine. It's going fine the way it is, without any formal commitment.
Well, we can leave it as an informed position, so whoever wants to volunteer to
Sure.
kind of.
You're doing to lose anyway, or you're doing to lose anyway.
Well, that's what I was saying. What I was thinking was really that I suppose you don't really necessarily need somebody in that position, but
Yeah.
that there should be some coordination. That there's somebody maybe
Well, what we
taking
can
charge
try,
of each away trip, more or less,
Exactly.
to just be a point of contact. And
the start of this season has been pretty successful, and the reason
Yeah.
why is because two members of the forum have agreed to allow themselves to be touch points for people coming in from Facebook or Twitter or from the main site, and I think that that's something that we should try and continue. Just
Mhm.
one of the forum regulars, one of the guys who's involved with the club, is going on a trip to Toulouse or to Quinns or to Saracens or wherever. We can just say, look, would you mind just handling incoming people if they've got queries? Just point them in the right direction, basically. So I think maybe we'll just try and adopt that kind of approach to it for this season and see how it goes, and it's something we can revisit again in the future.
Just a quick question is, when Connacht are, obviously they have a lot of stuff to arrange too for the team squad, like they're doing the legwork for a certain extent anyway, and obviously they're going to do it as cost effectively as possible. Do they pass any information along or no?
We've contacted them about organising a joint trip before, and the costs of doing that were very high.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so
I think taking up on that point, well raised, is the fact that if the club are going and booking 50 seats on a plane, then they're in early on those flights. So they'll have had time to do the work, they'll have know where the most effective time-wise flight to travel out. I mean, those of us that were in Toulouse the last time on that charter flight, and the fact that the team were on the same flight, and it just meant that the whole atmosphere started right from the minute we all got into Knock Airport.
yeah.
We were all together on the way out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been in situations now, it was the beginning of the season last year, where we were going to Glasgow, and past president of Glasgow turned around and said to me, Kieran, have you got tickets to them? We met up in Scotstoun. And he said, yeah, I've just bought them. Oh, that's a shame, because we've got half a dozen spares here. Now, things like that, I mean, I'm not saying that the club, the branch, should be supplying anything for free. We'll all pay for it. But in a situation like that, surely in a situation where and I think there was only 5 of us actually in Scotstoun for that particular game, if the branch had 6 spare tickets going, which weren't going to be used,
Okay.
I would have paid the branch for one of those tickets.
Yeah, of course.
If the branch book flights, we
Sure.
should, if we know what flight they're on, we might get a chance to get seats on the same.
Okay, so if I distill this down to the point that's kind of behind it all, is that what we should be trying to, is that the feedback we're getting here is that Connacht Clan should be trying to get involved early with Connacht Rugby to find out their travelling plans, see if we can play off each other basically, and if we can work together to make savings. And
I know on
be
the
a bit
games
more-
and the situations like that, it's not
Depends on-
feasible to have the
depends on the
fans in
game.
the same hotel as the players. You'd never want that because of
Sure.
before a game, and
Well,
that's perfectly
this is something
understandable.
we'll take that as a what we'll do is we'll take that as a point. We'll go away. We'll talk to Connacht Rugby about it and see what we can do about that.
The only thing
Can I just respond
Yeah,
to
sure.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, fill in some details.
Sure.
We don't research the locations or the flights. Keller Travel and Ballinasloe do all that first. So if anybody has any inquiries or wants to travel around that time, just contact him directly. And book it
Okay.
through them.
But that's even a bit. That's
That's
brilliant.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's even a bit of information.
I mean, we were
didn't
actually
have.
discussing before the AGM started that Clare have what I'm assuming is fairly similar to the Toulouse game, and it's €350 for the weekend flights
Yeah.
and transfers, which is probably a little bit more than if you were planning everything yourself.
Oh.
But it's something certainly to.
I mean, an
Yeah,
organised trip will always be a slight little bit more than you going
They're taking on the risk
independently.
and whatever.
They're
Yeah.
taking on the risk and that's perfectly acceptable. But if we could get, and one of my posts earlier on was a frustration that literally the week after the dates come out for Parma and for Toulouse, somebody should be going and saying, guys, here we go, like we're going to do, even if you don't have to have the details, we're going to have to do something. But I know there was about 40 people had already booked Parma going out to Bologna before
the other side to kind
that
of
side came
in,
up.
yeah.
Now, they've lost 40 travels.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody would have changed, but just get, if they could
Info.
get out, and even if you looked at the travel agent's website, the information from one of the games from last year was actually still on the website 6 months later.
I think it's something that we obviously have to tie in with Kelleher. I mean, you know, when we make it out of the group stages of the Heineken Cup and into the semis and the
Oh, well,
quarters and the
then,
final,
yeah.
you know, we'll definitely try and tie in with those. Then.
The only thing I want to say on that, and I granted I don't know Lamb from Adam, you know, I'm not even that big guy, but some coaches are very much, they don't want the fans around before the game. They're very much focused like these are professionals, that's their job. And like some coaches are fine, some players are fine, but it depends on, everyone's different. But some coaches, and on previous trips, there's no, like the play was going to Montpellier, I think it was, and the players are very much, you know, kind of saying hello to them, but they were off on their own. You know, once they played their match, which we won, thank God. Granted, they were fine, could, you know, talk to us afterwards or whatever, but beforehand, focused on the job in hand. So, I mean, that's the only thing I would say. Like, as I said, I don't know Pat Lamb, he might be kind of fine with it. But he might just turn around and say, listen, I prefer if they kind of fans work, they don't need the extra pressure put on them by the supporters, maybe. So all you need is 2 or 3, a few beers on them. You know, I'm not saying anyone would do it deliberately or whatever, but if you're sitting beside a young scrum half, it's his first game, he's probably
Of
nervous
course,
anyway.
I think we all realise that the
Yeah.
final word will always, in player management at least, will
Yeah.
always come down to Tim and Pat. So
That's just
it
the
depends.
points with teams.
One thing as well is with the Toulouse match in particular, there was a critical mass there. You know, there was a huge amount of fans travelling, so they had that as well. It's not always going to be possible with each match, but one thing that we're going to try and do is try and contact Kelleher, stay in contact with Kelleher and Connacht Rugby.
Well, it's
And make
always
sure
a
that
fine
we're-
balance. To get the information, to let people know you're going to organise something, then spurs them in to committing to what you're going to organise, as
Of course,
opposed
yeah.
to waiting till you think you're going to have a critical mass and people will go and they will make.
Yes,
I want to pay 60 quid for a Ryanair flight if I can get it 3 months before the game, than pay 150 quid getting it 3 weeks before the game. But surely,
But I think in a lot of cases, really what we want is, you know, people probably prefer to book stuff themselves, but even if you can tell people what to book,
yeah.
you know, where,
That's
you know,
the main thing.
that's what I was kind of do for Parma, like, and you know, because you would organise the
Taxis.
minibuses or whatever, like, to actually just put it together and say, okay, if you book these flights, contact Kieran for the minibus, book this hotel, there's a lot of people staying there, and, you know, you're
It's an
you're
easy
more or
plan
less
for
sorted
them.
then.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, almost like a
The thing is,
DIY package. kind
We
of thing.
did, you know, we got stung in the first season with trying to arrange away trips, and it was only to Leinster, right? It was
Yeah,
only a
I
away
know
trip to
the
Leinster. We
buses
got
and
stuck
stuff,
we got stuck because we both bought the
Both
tickets
tickets.
to get them at a
Yeah.
cheaper rate, to sell on at a cheaper rate, to get the package cost down, and then we ended up paying for 50 tickets that we never got sold.
Yeah, so
An
Jackie
idea,
don't have the
an
capital.
idea on that is what Leinster do is they've just put together an away guide, just something simple like that, and then you don't have to buy anything in advance. There's no cost to yourself.
I think what we'll definitely do though is we make contact with somebody in Kelleher's, and I might get in touch with Bonnie to see who the contact is.
It's Pierce and Cavan.
Pierce. And even if it's just something as simple as because I'm sure they're keeping an eye on fixtures,
Yeah.
because they want, the more the merrier.
But they want to get the business.
So let them
yeah.
email me or email somebody on the
Yeah.
committee. We'll put it up on the forum, and then people can go and make their own minds up then after that. But yeah, absolutely. Pierce.
Pierce.
Yeah, so the one thing we don't want to end up doing, we don't want Connacht Clan becoming a trip
Travel agent.
broker,
Oh no,
travel
no, no.
agent.
Yeah.
Because it is very complex, and
Very
it's a
time
lot of
consuming
time
and a lot of
consuming,
money.
and a lot of money can be lost doing it.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. But on the web, going back to what I said, if they just pop up on the website, Connacht fans, we'll be looking to organise
Mhm.
travel to the 3 away Heineken Cup games. If you're interested, email
Yeah.
X at Kelleher Travel. If he gets 60 emails in the first week, then
He'll know
he
the
goes,
story.
okay, this is worth looking at. If he gets 2 in, then he goes, sorry guys, we didn't get
We'll
enough.
definitely follow up. We'll definitely follow up with Kelleher Travel on that then. Okay.
Formally, do we want to take a vote on the
Yes.
3 associate
Yeah.
committee members?
I think we've kind of, yeah, we've had discussion.
Kind of dealt.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Can I just say something about that? So is it decided then that it'll be one person per away trip?
Well,
not official, but
Yeah,
exactly. It'd be something like that to
Yeah.
act as a point of contact.
And even for because like even for a lot of the smaller trips, there might only be 5 or 6 people going to go. At least maybe there should be. We should be trying to coordinate, and it's kind of been done that anyway over the.
It kind of happens
Or
in form organically
yeah.
anyway. The
Yeah.
first person who
But even
books the
just-
flights and books the hotels puts that up, and then the next person
Mm.
goes and tries to get
Yeah.
the same flights.
So
or they
even
can't
just
get the
might
same
just try
hotel.
and get that into the and I can do that, no problem. Just
Yeah.
get it into the travel menu so
Yeah.
people
You
just.
can pinpoint the main cities of like Glasgow and Wales,
Yeah.
and them 4 games that people will go say, oh, we gotta go to this city.
Mm.
The London game, whatever,
Yeah.
the case may be, if you got picked up them 4 games and plus the kind of Leinsters and Ulsters, then you have a thing going up on your site then saying, this is the price we got, if anyone wants to go with it, there
Yeah.
it is. They're the 4 games you picked, they're the 4 main cities, start out with that point.
I mean, the Saracens
And
away
then
game
go
is going
from
to be
the
a
other
challenge.
games.
Challenge for.
Well, to get, first of all, their ground
Yeah.
is in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
right? And with there being Luton, Stansted, Gatwick, Heathrow,
Sure.
In early January,
yeah,
getting flights to
It's,
London.
it's a game that I'm thinking of going to, so hopefully someone else will have to sort it out before I
a
get
bus, get a bus.
We'll figure it out. But I think the
Can
point
get
is,
surveillance information, but,
yeah. if we open up the website and allow people to write their own articles, right? Kieran is doing an article for Parma for this particular match. What I also want to try and do is get kind of an accumulation of kind of local fan knowledge as the Connacht Clan goes over there and comes back, and we go, oh, that pub was brilliant, or this pub was
Great
brilliant.
idea.
We'll keep it on a separate static page about Parma, right? So we'll have a page for
We
each
already
trip.
have the page
We'll have a
there.
static page for Parma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Keep
hopefully
adding to
we'll
it.
keep rolling on and collect all that information, and so that when people are thinking of doing a trip, they can go, oh, look at all this information. We have tons of it here. We can just do this as a start point. Go away, arrange our trips, pop onto the forum, and get a bit of a ball rolling that way.
Could just suggest perhaps that, say, if there is a point of contact, I'm just thinking of the 3 Heineken Cup matches away, if there's a point of contact for each of those 3, could that point of contact also be contactable by the away supporters club?
Of course.
So that for the whole match, so we could kind of build a bit of rapport with those teams as well.
That's a brilliant
So
idea.
if the person would be willing to do both the home and the away match
Sure.
as kind of the point of contact and the
yeah,
place.
that makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
great.
We've always
We
been
did that
contacting
before,
An Italian ship, though.
the away supporters club. Like, we contacted somebody from Quins and we brought them to O'Connell's. We had a few pints with them the evening before. Was that
It was
Quins?
Buskers.
Yeah, it was Buskers, and then there was
Then I did the Biarritz one.
Beer
the
is
night
fantastic.
the
It
Ritz
sounds
one.
fantastic.
Was it everybody down in the clan bar the night of the Ritz game? It was unbelievable. Like,
Maybe the
brought
night
over
before, I
and-
saw the video the night before. Did you do the night before someone?
No,
It was
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
be
yeah,
the
yeah,
flight
yeah.
was delayed.
That's right.
In-
There's a video up online of
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I couldn't place
it's
the club.
Foxes.
Foxes.
Yeah.
Foxes now.
Yeah. No, not Foxes. It's across the road.
Marty.
No, between Murty's and Rabbits.
Poupon.
Poupon.
Jesus.
Yeah, we went in there with the lads with the brass band, and there was a band playing, and the lads started going down and joining in with the lad with the guitar and the singer. So it was great crack. Yeah.
But it can kind of happen organically as well, like when lads are over on an away trip, like we were over on a trip, we went over to Swansea to watch the Ospreys game, and I got dragged up on stage in front of a few people. I had to give a speech. I was half cut at that stage. And we pick up pennants like and swap flags and stuff like that. It just kind of happens.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's a good point to try and keep the thread of continuity there. If someone's going over and acting as a point of contact for our fans, and we can put them in contact with the supporters club that are over there, and
they
when
can
they
pass
come
the
back,
information back via the
yeah,
forum or
it
whatever.
keeps the link there. So that's a great suggestion as well.
Just on that as well, I know the Connacht Hotel have been in contact with a number of the away
That's
team
true.
supporters clubs,
Mhm.
putting
Oh,
off
fine.
special packages and deals and stuff as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Saracen supporters are staying in around, and we've already been in contact with them.
a number of the teams have booked with them as well. So that would be an idea for
It's very handy for everybody. Yeah. Good stuff.
Right. So
Can you take a vote on that?
I don't know if we can. Do we have? We basically the okay. So we'll put forward a motion for voting. It's that the roles identified here are not going to be adopted formally, and that they're going to remain on an informal level. We're going to try and push more interaction from clan members to try and take on those roles in a kind of organic, kind of ad hoc way, you know. Yeah. So, in favour of that as the motion, please raise your hands.
Okay.
That's great.
Carried.
All right. Great. All right. So, sponsorship. Yeah, player sponsorship. Okay. So, the clan are going to sponsor Matt Healy. That's going to come from the money going to be raised from donations from forum users. So I don't know if we need to take any vote on that, do we?
No, I don't think so. I think
And
if
we
they're
do-
willing to contribute money, I
If they're
think
willing
that's-
to, yeah, I think that's
How much
basically.
is it?
It's what you would like to contribute yourself.
Well, there's obviously a
Perhaps
fixed
sponsor-
price though to sponsor the player.
There
Yeah.
is, yeah. We're not going to
You know,
say what that is.
Yeah,
We've
we've been.
Probably is.
It is.
No, it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
so I
It's
mean,
not that much I know.
it's not too bad. No,
Come out of the,
well, it
Fifteen
was
hundred quid.
suggested on the forum
Was
as
it not?
something to do. You know, the guys said that they wanted to donate towards doing
Alright,
this.
fair enough.
And if there's a surplus, that just goes into.
If there's a
the
surplus,
funds.
we'll
Yes,
take it
so
into
it'll
account and we'll
come
figure out where to put it. So, another thing that we're going to be doing is we want to make a donation to the Green Shirts to Grassroots campaign. The idea behind that will be to kind of first off, we'll use it as a point of publicity for the Connacht Clan. We'll get the local papers up, and also we'll use it to help promote Connacht Rugby's Green Shirts to Grassroots campaign. Try and get a bit more kickstarted again for the new season. So we're looking at donating at €1,000 to that. So it's a big enough impact that it's a big enough amount that it has an impact on the finances of the academy. It goes towards a good source and something that every member of the Connacht Clan would like. We hope, we feel, to see it go to.
You get something back.
You get,
Colin,
yeah,
do know
you
what
get
the
the signed
We get a
jersey,
signed
so
jersey, and that's
we're
something
hoping for the
For the
presentation
€1,000
or whatever to have the
€1,000.
signed jersey, and hopefully that'll kind of make other businesses aware, like
Yeah,
pubs and stuff in town.
Raffle
You
that
get
off.
the-
Yeah.
Well, we might put it up in the clan bar as
Yeah,
part
we'll
of
put
the
it
decoration of
Our
the
bar,
clan
like,
bar.
sponsoring, you know, put money back into Connacht Rugby. You know.
We could have raffled it off, but we're donating the money that we've generated from, you know, sponsorships and stuff like that. It's kind of a never-ending circle if we just take that and put it back into it. It's something nice to show when people go into the clan bar. They go, oh, well, you know, we'll have something there that people can go, all right, well, that's what the Connacht Clan are about.
Yeah.
You know, they're there to help support
See what
Connacht
their money
Rugby
is.
and help support Connacht Rugby supporters.
One
and
raffle
stuff.
ticket or something. And you can see.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
okay, that's where some of it ends up.
You can see, you
You
can
know,
read it
you're
right there,
on-
that's
you
where
know.
it came from, yeah.
Exactly.
And hopefully this will set off kind of a chain of events where other businesses like pubs and stuff will see us on the page of the advertiser or whatever with the signed jersey and realise I can get myself in the paper, I can kick this off. And hopefully it'll have a good effect on the campaign.
So, as part of this point of discussion, if there's any suggestions for other areas where people would like to see the surpluses of our accounts being directed, it'd be great to hear those suggestions as well. If
I think if we give 1,000 to the grassroots and then
with
whatever the player sponsorship is, there won't be too much of a surplus.
I should say our funding for 2013-2014 hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah.
I suppose we're not really at liberty to say too much, but I don't think we're going to have any problems with funding going into the going into the
Given
year.
that we had, 1460 left at the end of this season, I think we'll be in the same or better position.
our
next
running
year.
our running costs basically are pretty low. It's the cost of the servers to keep the site going.
It's the few bits there, the prizes, the trophies,
Prizes,
the
the
pennants.
trophies.
You know, I mean, like that, most of that is the PA, and that's a one-off.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
And
an
I mean,
investment.
look at, you're saving yourself 150. You know,
We're
4
saving
years of
ourselves.
paper
We're
stuff.
saving ourselves 50 for every hire that we do, but
Yeah.
we're also enabling ourselves to do a lot more
Yeah.
In the bar.
in the bar and to make it a bit more of a hub for people to come to after the match. That money then goes back into Connacht Rugby, which is, you know, helping drive our team forward. Right, so we'll move on to point 6, election of committee members. The voting mechanism is all documented there if you have a copy of the constitution.
We should say that before this, committee members were elected for 2 years, and it was a rolling system. So myself and Declan wouldn't have to have been voted in again this year, but Dennis and Aaron would have been. But what we decided that we were going to do was drop it to 1 year. It makes things a bit easier. People might be a bit, put off by having to make a
join for 2 years.
2-year commitment. So now everybody is up for re-election every year. It makes things just a little bit easier. So the usual way it goes is that somebody is nominated and somebody is seconded, and then it's voted on. But usually we're nominated and seconded, and unless anybody has an objection, that person would be held to be elected. So who wants to get the ball rolling? Suppose I'll nominate Dennis as a committee member.
Oh, thanks very much.
Anybody willing to second?
One thing we should point out is that we don't nominate people for a specific role. The committee gets together, then decides who's president, who's PRO, and then such. So I'll second Dennis's.
Oh no, I was already seconded by
Sure.
Anthony. Anthony seconded.
Slow down, man.
I don't
thought
need
you
you.
might-
I don't need you, Declan.
I thought you might struggle there.
Thanks. The confidence.
You haven't been nominated yet, you want to say quick?
I told you get it back.
Maybe that's my plan.
Yeah.
Coup d'etat.
And is there a certain number of people to be on the committee?
No.
Any number.
Any number.
There's no set.
Has to be
figure.
three, say.
Has to be 3
Let's do 3 to have a to actually put a vote on it.
to have.
Yeah.
But to have any committee, is you have to have
Any
3.
meeting.
Okay, so Dennison, I'll nominate Shane.
Thanks, Declan.
Okay. Any objections? Anyone else want to put themselves
Yeah.
forward?
So that we're not
Anthony,
just nominating the 4 people
Kieran,
that were
Kieran.
last year.
Like Eamon, Chris? No? Is there
Like
anyone?
genuinely, folks, it's
The more
It's-
the merrier, like,
Seriously, yeah, and don't feel like it's an ironclad commitment. I mean, it's basically you'll just be turning up for meetings and powwowing with us.
Like a lot of our time last year was kind of spent just organising the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, and a few one-off events we did. There was nothing.
Running the forum,
It
writing
is.
articles, and trying to get the
A lot of it was done
information.
offline, kind of every day.
Yeah.
and it's like work commitments or family commitments or whatever. Like obviously they come first. There's
That's
no doubt
completely
about that. So
understandable,
there's no problem going. Listen, I won't be around for. There's still people who listen. We're really busy with work.
We've
Just
had
taking
guys
the time,
who
that's
signed
fine.
up last year drop out because they started college courses.
There's no problems with that.
Like
Like, so
family
don't
commitments.
worry about it.
I'd be willing to part if.
Nice.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
the
Him.
Yeah.
I nominated him, so.
Second.
Great.
Yeah.
Seconded.
Okay.
He's carried then without objections.
Very good.
Anyone going to object?
Yep.
Correct. I'll nominate Declan as well.
Second.
He's sweating there too.
I said I'd leave him a little bit, after.
I was hoping I'd get away with it.
Any objections to Declan rejoining committee? No, that's great. It's carried.
I'll nominate Aaron.
Seconded. Any objections? No. Great.
Anyone else?
Are there anyone else want to put the name forward?
Of course, I suppose people who are watching the video can nominate themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
We're always open to
We're-
new people. joining.
people jumping in and
Yeah.
lending a hand. It's an open committee. So, right. So with that done, that's the election finished, and we're just moving into any other business. So if anyone
Sorry,
has any, Yeah.
Dennis, when you went to the clan sponsorship and grassroots thing,
Yeah.
that's decided, so you didn't vote.
no,
Yeah.
we didn't open it for a vote because
Yeah.
it's kind of we've had it in the pipeline and
Just
it's
been done, yeah.
it's,
No,
it's
just
been
wondering,
pretty
like,
much
yeah.
done, yeah. So we kind of brought it up as a point to both raise awareness of it, the fact that we were doing it, and also to kind of get people thinking about where they'd like to see the Connacht Clan investing its funds
In the future.
for the future. So yeah, that's it. So any other business, anyone wants any subject whatsoever?
I suppose just something was just trying to making a bit of an effort to try and get more people to register for, as we're saying, everybody is pretty much automatically a member of the clan anyway, but we don't really, I think, I only kind of realised more or less this season, but we don't actually have
A
contact
registration.
details,
Yeah,
because I presume
So
data
I have
protection they don't supply.
we have the administrators on the site can access the emails of the members, right,
Right.
which they use to sign up with. Now, I think there might be a couple of dodgy emails in there as well. People who just didn't want to use their real email address for it. for whatever reason, because we don't actually enforce that. Normally when you sign up on a forum, you
just
put in your email address, go to your email account, click on the link to start a thing. We didn't do that. We wanted to make it easy for people to sign up and get active on the community. But I think that most of them, 99% of them, are valid emails.
how many forum members ever, sorry?
328 or something like that.
376.
But yeah,
And that includes kind of, people signed up as well
There's
for opposition supporters, whatever.
There's a lot of guys
Number
there who have
of
no
people.
0 posts or 1 post or something.
Yeah.
How many active?
So,
would there be?
but then also there's
There's
people who
about-
access it who don't,
there's-
who aren't registered, or who
There's
just
people
read
who do a lot of reading on it.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
notice that
Like,
There's a lot of
last
guests.
visits who
Yeah.
are on 0,
You'll always
Very
notice a lot of
information.
guests. There could be between 20 and 30 guests on. But in terms of signed users, I think when we did the player award polls that time, it was something like just over 50.
Yeah,
Votes.
that's probably the best.
That's
probably
the best way to
indication
gauge
of it,
At the moment, we have 3 members online and 81 guests.
Yeah. Which
So-
It's a lot, yeah.
It shows that we have a good resource there.
Yeah.
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 Um,
But just, I suppose, to kind of maybe,
to create a
fact that
more
there's
of
a
a
whole
community,
lot
yeah.
on the side at the moment, while there's, the forum, there's maybe enough content, people don't register, but yeah, I mean, it would be, I don't know if we had to get a recruitment drive
one
in
thing
the sports ground with, the old,
yeah,
with this
So
thing,
that's-
which is
that's
very
part of
important,
this.
and even just,
people who never knew about us before, they just wouldn't know about connachtclan.com or connachtclan.com/forum or the website or the Twitter or the Facebook. They would just don't know about it, and so hopefully getting this information out, they go, oh, Connacht Clan, oh yeah, Clan Bar, Clan Stand, oh yeah, it all seems to be fitting together, and they'll see the resources that they can go to become involved in the community, and hopefully that'll start driving some more things. We can of course think of doing things as well, like getting a desk out and telling people about it. Yeah, that's definitely something that's been suggested on the forum a couple of times, and that's something that we will probably try and look to do this season.
yeah.
I mean, how many-
Towards the start.
Okay, we may not have the exact figures, but
Mhm.
season ticket holders in Connacht Rugby.
There was
I'm
around-
not asking for exact numbers, Pauline, but there are considerably more season ticket holders than there are actually members of the clan forum.
There are, yeah, and that was the
And
thing.
is there any
the-
way we can get hold that, even if it's next year as part of the application
Yeah.
form for your season ticket, where you have to allow access to the to your contact information, because let's say if there's 900 season ticket holders and we've 300, actually if you go into the statistics, there's probably only 70 people on the forum
So
that
there
have
was
posted more than 40 times.
our first season. We had the list of season ticket holders' emails. First off, not every season ticket holder has an email.
Yeah,
But the email addresses that we got, we used them for the Connacht Clan newsletter. If you guys were season ticket holders, you might have gotten those the first season that we were doing. It's an awful lot of work to write up those newsletters. Well, I mean, they were going out maybe every couple of weeks, maybe to a month. There's about 8 hours goes into getting it all together, getting all the information together, getting it formatted, doing test emails, getting the list, logging in, making sure that there's no problems with the format.
you understand, it's a lot of work.
Etc. But I don't know if we saw much benefit from doing that work. It didn't seem to drive any registrations onto the forum, and the people who were active on the forum were the same people who were always active on the forum. Now that's not to say that I think we should give up on trying to get more people involved. I think it's that when people are just mass emailed like that, I don't think they really feel like they're going to go out and get involved with a community. I think that what we need to try and do is give them a reason to come looking for us, and give them a reason for them to get involved with us. So that might be something like, I've been thinking about this over the last season, and one thing I wanted to try and do was maybe to start to reward contribution. So if you write an article, you get some way of tracking how active a person is in the community, and then giving back to them in a proportionate manner, right? So, yeah, okay, we hear you're going to Parma. We booked a taxi for you and your four mates who are going. We saw you on the forum. We booked that for you because you have being active, contributing to the clan, stuff like that. And that way people will see a benefit from coming and being involved and giving up their time and submitting an article or posting their own comments on articles and stuff like that, and driving the community.
I was just thinking, you know, there might be some benefit to having like some kind of members only content on the site. I don't know what that would be, but so you obviously you still want most of it to be visible to everybody,
Yeah.
but if you can log in, maybe, you know, certain areas of the forum mightn't be probably relevant to everybody anyway. They don't want to be relevant to members, so
Yeah.
or
Certain
I don't know exactly
things
what.
certain things that we tried to do to drive membership last year was we didn't take votes for the first season. We did player of the season, young player of the season. We took votes by email. We didn't do that this year. You had to vote on the forum, and that actually
You have to
did.
register for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
register, and that did drive registrations.
Yeah.
People
Because we
registered
have quite big
specifically.
numbers that would have got the message on Facebook and Twitter. Like I
Yeah.
think it's something like nearly 1,900 people on Twitter
Yeah.
and over 500 on Facebook.
Yeah,
And that's growing all the
I
time.
can't understand that.
Twitter's the fastest growing social media.
yeah. I
And
think it's
even
just
if
easier.
Connacht Rugby retweets stuff, which they've done this week, that's what,
Yeah.
30,000 people or something.
On
like
Facebook.
that.
Yeah.
about 30
And I suppose that's something else that's
On
more.
Twitter, is it, or
I know
Facebook?
Facebook, but the Twitter's growing a lot faster
Yeah,
than
The-
Facebook. Facebook's kind of stopped now.
I think everybody here gets the weekly email from Connacht Rugby, don't they? The weekly newsletter. The kind of the Venn diagram of people that would be in the clan but wouldn't get that is probably tiny. And every time we've wanted anything put in there about home events, away events, about the AGM, you know, Pauline or whoever has been more than happy to do it. So I suppose we, from a kind of a pure getting the message out there kind of view, kind of tack, you know, we have this access to the Connacht kind of way of pushing things through, which has a much bigger reach than just our Twitter or just our forum or just our.
Yeah.
You
So
guys
what
are
we want to
central.
do is we want to highlight the kind of extras that the Connacht Clan are offering on top of the Connacht Rugby information. And the Connacht Clan, the whole goal of it is to create a community of supporters to help support each other and Connacht Rugby, and that's where we need to differentiate it, right? So we need to drive that differentiation, and that is getting people to come and register and get themselves involved in the community, because it's driven by us, right? It's driven by supporters, and that's not true of Connacht Rugby. They're driven by getting the results on the field. They're driven by the infrastructure of the RFU and their member clubs, which is it's a bit of a different thing. So we use them for getting the message out, but we need to use them to get the message out, and that message needs to get people to try get people involved with us, and that needs to be, I think they need to buy into it rather than getting the information just given to them. Yeah.
Do you have good contacts in the kind of local media or whatever as well? Or, you
Yeah,
know,
we have a
get
few
to
on the
papers and-
advertiser and Gob
yeah.
FM and
Yeah.
stuff like that. They've done Gob FM have had actually like sat in our events sometimes
Mhm.
and done interviews and stuff during
And
them.
we also have broadcast guy there,
Yeah, Aaron's done a lot of work.
Yeah, like he's a big Connacht fan himself.
Right.
Anyway, like
He jumps at the opportunity.
yeah, he no problem at all. Really,
We went.
really Connacht.
Aaron has
We
done, you've done
broadcast
radio,
live
Aaron's
from,
done stuff with the iRadio and
Yeah.
Yeah, but so is himself
But
and Dennis.
We broadcast live from
the Skeff.
the Skeff last
That
year.
was Gob FM, yeah.
For the Biarritz away game, that was Galway FM, and that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do. Just get the name out there and let people know that these events are happening, and that they can, if they're interested in Connacht Rugby, that there's a lot of people out there as well who share the passion.
That's one thing we've managed to do this year is actually get on the radio a couple of times just to get the message, you know, a bit more, which we wasn't doing the first year. So
Yeah.
we kind of hadn't done it. We've got a contact now, and he doesn't seem to mind doing it. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And Aaron has been acting in the role of press officer this year, and he's done a fantastic job of pushing that, and he's opened up new channels for us really to kind of reach out to people there. So it's growing slowly. Do we have any other topics?
Just on venues, when you're trying to organise venues for to watch away matches
Yeah.
or whatever, do you approach the businesses or they approach you? Or?
We
So,
approached them this
We
year.
approached them. So this season we first season we were with one pub, and we said we'd give it a go at doing different pubs, and so that's what we did last year. We approached a number of different venues. We said, look, we have these. We basically gave them a menu of away games to pick from, and they would pick from those, and we'd go down then with the banners and arrange a raffle and put the word out on the forum.
And they do finger food for us and they give us our fee or whatever, and Everyone is a winner
Is
really.
the feedback good? Yeah. In all
Yeah.
venues. Yeah.
Some games are obviously better
Yeah.
better than
Yeah.
others.
Depends on
If it
depends
was
on
on
so many
RTE
different
and you
things.
know, yeah.
Like
If
we
it's on
had
RTE, it's lower. If it's
it's
during
during the day.
early in the day, like a 2 p.m. kickoff, it's really hard to get
Yeah.
people in. If it's like a Saturday evening at 6 p.m., that's brilliant.
Right,
That's
yeah.
perfect because
Yeah.
people go in just a little bit earlier to watch the match, but they stay in,
Yeah.
and that's kind of that's the sweet spot for the bars.
The two most successful ones we would have had would have been in season before last, the first Heineken Cup game, the Harlequins game.
Oh,
Buskers. That was very, and then
That was
the
one,
Christmas
yeah.
party in the Scaif this year was
Yeah.
Who was that? Biarritz.
Biarritz. Yeah.
Biarritz away, yeah.
You know, compare that then to maybe our least successful one was in Massimo's with the Munster match, and because it was such a bad game, because it was on during the day, people came, they watched the match. There was a good crowd there.
There
And
was
then
about
people-
30. It was on
people-
RTE, wasn't
It was on RTE, yeah. And then people left. They finished off their drink, or they finished off their bitter glove, and good luck, thanks so much. You know, which obviously the venue would prefer to keep people there for 5
Oh, yeah.
hours, which is what happened in the Scaif, what happened in Monroe's, happened in Buskers the year before. But
Yeah. And the second Buskers game was woeful, I think, the last time, didn't it?
The
first
Gloucester,
season.
the
Yeah.
Gloucester
Yeah.
match. It was
Well, 12
well,
or something.
it was around between 20 and 30 people,
Mm.
but
Just
it
bad-
was.
bad- again, just bad time.
It
Would
was
you not, I mean,
But it was
second-
that was one of those matches that kicked off at 2:30 or something like that.
But there's a Connacht, I think, personally, I mean, it's a big thing to watch away games with other Connacht supporters.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a couple
Yeah.
of supporters in each bar.
Yeah.
But need to cater, like, there's plenty of small pubs in town as well. It doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be a big.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's very hard, you always want to cater for families and stuff as well, but 90% of the people who are watching the match in the middle of the day in the pub are
Just
of a certain demographic. Like,
yeah.
I just said, I found that, like, I'd like that if there was something, personally, and obviously, just the whole thing,
Yeah.
if there was a nominated pub for every match, even if it's
That's
only
That's
what
what
we're
we're
doing
hoping to
this
do
year.
this
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
It Quins this year, the away match.
We're,
whenever.
Because it was a lot of work for us last year organising events with
different
5 or 6
venues.
different venues and getting everything there. Whereas if we have one venue who we have a deal with for the whole season, we can just organise stuff and form and kind
Relationship,
of.
you're saying people who
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
have the same
it's
size
much
season.
less overhead for us, and
If the same
every
people,
match
is it?
there'll be an event there. You know, whether there's 5 people there or 50.
We can't give
Yeah, we can't
specifics
give too much
about it
until
right now
Because
because it's still
Negotiation with
not
Yeah.
finalised. But we are looking to have a nominated pub so that people can go. There's a match on today. I know where the lads are going.
Yeah.
And I suppose part of that as well is like a lot of times, even for third party matches where
Yeah.
Connacht aren't involved, you know, it's often hard to find a place to join a rugby match in
Yeah.
in
That's
Galway
it.
City when
yeah,
if it's clashing with a soccer match as well or something
Yeah.
like
I mean, look, you're
if that can, you know, would that be something that you
Exactly.
factor in
So we're
with
trying to
the
get
venue
that.
that
Would
it-
be-
yeah.
yeah, makes
we're
it
trying to
really
get that. If
You'll
there
have
is
a
a
cheap
game,
one of those
yeah,
around.
yeah,
We've looked around. We have
Nice.
a candidate, I'd say, and we're just looking to finalise
I'd be
it.
amazed if I stand in one of the 4 pubs, like, but, I suppose the only thing is it has to be transparent too about, you know, there's obviously a couple of publicans and stuff associated with Connacht Rugby in lots of different levels and ways.
Yeah.
And is that it doesn't look like one place is getting preferential treatment over another, you know. There's lots of pubs that sponsor players. I mean, half the
Yeah.
players are sponsored
Yeah.
by pubs and restaurants anyway,
Yeah.
so you don't have to go on to
Yeah.
Yeah.
play favourites when you could mix it up throughout the year, like, you know.
That's true as well.
Just for people who don't live in Galway, I do, but I mean, is there any
So
I
is
think that's one of the things that we try to do. We try to do. I think all the committee are based in Galway. I think I'm the farthest out, and I live in Cork, but I work in Galway. We had tried to have away events, basically table quiz in Westport because it's a big rugby town, and Athlone because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the biggest population centre outside Galway. Logistically, it was very difficult to get anything off the ground because
we're not based there.
Yeah.
and we did approach various venues, and they were enthusiastic at the start, but when it came time to actually try and get anything moving, it kind of fell apart.
Is there, you know, is there argument we should have? Well, I don't know. You'd obviously need somebody to volunteer for it, but you know,
Affiliate
to actually have a
branches.
couple of
Yeah.
basically even if
We
there's
would
only
like
1 or
to.
2 people
We
informed
want.
within all
We
the
would love that, but like we have, you've seen it on the forum. There's Connacht Clan in Dublin,
Yeah.
and there's
One in
Connacht Clan in London.
Mm.
But you
Even
know, you
I
need
suppose-
a certain critical mass, you
Yeah.
know, to get people to feel that they're kind of part of the community. And I just don't know if we have that yet.
Even let's say when you're promoting the like away events, you're saying we're in Pub X for this
Yeah.
match, Galway, you know,
If you're
could
in
you put
Dublin,
something in there as well, you know, just
Go
even
to,
based
yeah.
on feedback from the forum, just put it in, because I know, I noticed that alright on the Leinster, on the Leinster website or whatever, at one stage for a match,
Yeah.
and they had lists of official venues, you know, in Auckland and
Yeah.
all this kind of crack. I know we're
Yeah.
obviously not, you know, at
We're not
that
on
level,
par
but
at the
even
minute,
just
but we'll get there.
to actually put, you know,
We
a
did
list
try
of
and-
venues and stuff
We,
like that.
sorry, just interrupt you. We did try in the first year going out to like other places, you know, saying going to one from Casper, one from Westport, one club in Ballina, Sligo, whatever, Roscommon, and saying, right, you'll be our official bubble, right? You have to guarantee is if Connacht are playing, it's on the telly, nothing else will interrupt that. But about any other match with Connacht on, as Dennis said, they were very, very appreciative and whatever, but when it got down to more the nuts and bolts,
Yeah.
and we weren't really sure how it worked to be honest either. You know, I hope there was an idea, but it kind of did very much.
It's something that we can look into again. It is a great idea, and it's great for fans in other parts of the country to go, I know where to go for this match because I know it's going to be on because they have an agreement with the Connacht Clan that go and show every Connacht match. So it's great because they then have a de facto location.
Yeah.
Basically a small pub instead of a major pub.
Yeah.
They would show the Connacht game because they don't want the soccer fans to, you know.
Yeah, some of them would just they find it very hard that they were, in theory, they were very good, but at the end of the day, they were. When we came back to it, was where the pub was, and they were saying, "That's all very well, but if Man U were playing Liverpool, I cannot put on." You know, most of my he was using this as an example, football game, whatever.
They're
I
not
said,
turn on the money. Like.
Well, they're not
I
going to.
can't blame them. Like,
If there's 10 lads in there watching Chelsea City, you know, and one Connacht fan walks in and goes, "I'd like to watch the Connacht match." You know, fair enough. If the guys agreed to do it, right, which is grand. But I mean, that's the kind of thing that's going to be in the publican's mind. He's going to be driving away customers who are paying money to be there and have a drink and watch the match. So it is a good idea, and I think once we can show that there's enough support there and that it's worth their time and effort for doing it, it'll catch on. But that's a point that we need to make to them.
Any other items anybody wants to make? So the last thing then is just a thank you to everybody that's helped us out this year. On the back of the list we have, the back of the agenda, we have a list of people that we want to thank. No point going through it. Going through it all. Thank Pauline for coming here today. Pauline, for anybody that doesn't know, is our liaison with Connacht Rugby.
And the treasurer.
And the treasurer of the committee, yeah. And so thanks very much for coming out. And I suppose thanks to everybody else for coming. And I think that is it. We're all going to O'Connell's. So I'm not sure if anybody needs a lift down or
Directions how to get there.
You've been there before, I presume.
But yeah, we're going to go for a few pints anyway and see how things go. Yeah. That's it. So
Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers.